your praises. All our hearts are filled with gladness. Hallelujah, we sing your praises. All our hearts are filled with gladness. Que morena Jesu, yore du me let's sing, yore du me let's sing. O Samaisa Evangeli, Christ the Lord to us said, I am wine, I am bread, I am wine, I am bread. Give to all who thirst and hunger. Hallelujah, Benotzarona, Tita Bileka Ovela. Hallelujah, Benotzarona, Tita Bileka Ovela. Hallelujah, Benotzarona, Tita Bileka Ovela. Hallelujah, Benotzarona, Tita Bileka Ovela.
Good morning. Thank you, Goose, for that introduction, but I regret to tell the audience that Jeannie Gibbons will not be able to join us. She's ill, and she's very upset that she can't be here because she's been looking forward to this for several months as we've worked together on this. So we will not maybe be able to come in. I will not cover some of the things she had planned to do, but she's here with us in spirit. I'm very honored to have been invited to speak to you today about beauty with regard to the human spirit, as seen from the Indian perspective. But before we talk about beauty and Indians, let's take a look at Indians and a bit of history concerning their composite place in American society. Scholars say that some 30 to 40,000 years ago, we Native Americans sludged across the Bering Strait from Asia while the sea was down. Others say we came across the Pacific on a raft made of reeds. And then there are those who say we came across the Atlantic in a submarine-like vessel from a legendary place called Atlantis. Some say that Native Americans in the early days were so primitive that tribal lexicons didn't include a word for art. Perhaps so, art or not, but we Indians say thank you. We have our ways of providing beauty in our lives through ceremonies, creation myths, stories, and thousands of years of art's recorded history. Anthropologists, historians, self-appointed social engineers often neglect the importance of the arts in its role as a major carrier of beauty in Native American culture. They fail to recognize that Indians place upon beauty in every aspect of their lives, not just the kind of beauty you find in the color of a rose, a sunset, or in an art exhibition, but in the wholeness of life. Their concern for beauty seems to get lost in the stereotypical Hollywood portrayal of Indians as savage wagon train raiders, representatives of a brutish culture totally lacking in sensitivity to beauty in any form. The fact that early Native Americans did not consciously divide human behavior into the three categories of art, science, and religion certainly does not mean that the early Indians did not have a life, one that was characterized by a wide range of cultural institutions that depended upon creative expression to bring beauty to all aspects of their lives. The fact that there was no word for aesthetics in tribal languages does not mean that Native American culture did not create works of beauty. For proof, contemplate the fine ceramic works by the internationally famous San Ildefonso potter, Maria, or bask in the sun in the beauty of a classically fine basket crafted at the turn of the century by Desatzali of the Washoe tribe in Nevada, or in the beautiful ivory carvings of Alaska Inuit peoples, or the exquisitely designed and crafted 19th century textiles of the Navajo. We know from archaeological finds of beautifully knapped spear points and crude stone palettes containing traces of colored earth pigments that date back to Pleistocene times, that Native Americans exercised their creative powers and aesthetic sensitivity to bring beauty into their lives. Petroglyphs and cave paintings involving the use of colored designs and imagery illustrating mysterious abstract storylines from times immemorial are found in ubiquitous sites across the continent. From such evidence, we can assume that Native Americans followed the same general lines of human development and regard for the enrichment of the human spirit as others, and that following the evolution of basic communication skills, there came song, dance, decorated bodies, and percussive music. The rhythmic click of rattles, the beat of drums, and the sustained musical sounds of bone whistles and wooden flutes. Somewhere along the line, they painted their bodies and bedecked themselves in costumes made of animal skins, furs, feathers, textiles, shells, animal claws, beaks, and other colorful adornments. These expressive activities met their affective needs, much in the manner that members of today's society find beauty in dressing up, dancing to a favorite band, attending a ballet or a gala gallery exhibition of paintings, albeit they wore no tuxedos. In the early days, the visual arts served in a workhorse role, particularly as a kind of handmaiden to religion, providing colorful visual symbols for the teaching and actualization of religious concepts. A concern for beauty showed up in the colors and sculptural forms that were used profusely in the making and decoration of ceremonial objects. Integrated in all phases of daily life, the arts served extensively in the shaping and decoration of weapons, tools, and a full array of utilitarian objects. They served practically in both the enhancement of life and in the enrichment of the human spirit. But in another dimension and broader sweep, dance, music, and creation myths came together in a dramatic ritualization of man's place in the universe through poetically inspired supplications to the supernaturals in charge of the earth, sun, and sky. Dramas incorporating performers, costumed dancers, music, and audience all came together in ways to equate the elements that make up modern theater. And what of the intricate colored symbols and highly stylized figures found on boulders, on the walls of caves and ceremonial chambers, on ceremonial objects, weapons, animal hides, painted with earth pigments and vegetable juices? Carved wooden altars, wooden totem poles, and house fronts have been decorated over many years. Beautifully sculpted ceramic effigy figures and stone fetishes are known on a wide tribal front. Not to mention such architectural wonders as the Plains Teepee, and further back in time, the great Mayan pyramids and elaborately planned cities of the Aztecs, the gold and silver supercrafts, and the unsurpassed textile arts produced by the classic culture groups of Middle and South America. Who is to say that the many stories in the form of creation myths and epic free-form poetry handed down from generation to generation in most tribes does not equate to a grand body of literature in oral form? Indeed, the pursuit of beauty has been a mainstay for the enrichment of the human spirit among Indians for eons. The word beauty has as many meanings as there have been romantic poets and writers who through the ages have recognized beauty as an inseparable component in the qualities of human spirit that make life worth living. The American Heritage Dictionary tells us beauty is a pleasing quality associated with harmony of form and color, excellence of craftsmanship, truthfulness, and originality. It goes on to include appearance or sound that arouses a strong contemplative delight, loveliness, as in a woman who has preserved her youthful beauty, pretty, handsome, fine, all of which seems a bit simplistic and a bit beside the point. I certainly did not come here to talk about the beauties of women and the handsomeness of men. The dictionary description I have just read is only obliquely pertinent to the kind of beauty that I have come to talk about. Beauty as found in the organization of organic, psychological, or social factors that comprise a harmonious whole. I believe that beauty, as it would be described in a generic Native American dictionary, if there were such a thing, as a quality of life that goes far beyond that found in the making of art, or responding pleasantly to pretty things, or listening to pleasing sounds, or the pleasures found in the contemplation of physical loveliness. In Indian traditional terms, such joys are assumed, but the consideration of beauty in its fullness includes the state of profound wholeness that comes from living in a state of harmony with the universe, the world of the Great Spirit, the creator of all things. Beauty is more than sensual experience. In the traditions of the Indian world, it is an all-encompassing, soulful attitude that one strives to find in the godliness of nature, in every detailed aspect of being, well beyond that which one sees with the eyes and hears with the ears, the kind of spiritual beauty that one finds in the quietude of white clouds floating in the emptiness of a blue sky, the gentle sound of raindrops falling on the sides of a teepee, or in the thunderous roar of rivers rushing to the sea. Beauty is living in harmony with God's family of animates, animals, insects, and all the things that move, and inanimates, the rocks, the hills, the mountains. Beauty is to be found in the unseen, phenomenal forces of life, fertility, germination, growth, and in the maintenance of harmony with the supernatural forces of nature that make up the life process itself. The sun, the rain, hot and cold, the flow of time, spring, summer, fall, and winter, birth and death. Beauty is in listening to creation myths in wintertime, basking in the warm feelings of a lover, or happy membership in a loving extended family, or holding an honored place within one's tribe or in one's community. Ultimately, beauty and its importance in the lives of Indians is summed up as in a song by the Navajo medicine man when he sings the popular prayer poem from the night chant, a song from the 9-day Yebiche ceremony. In beauty I walk, with beauty before me I walk, with beauty behind me I walk, with beauty above me I walk, with beauty all around I walk. It is finished in beauty. I speak of Indians, but who are Indians today? The word Indian is a generic word cooked up by Columbus or someone long ago and erroneously applied to a race of people. And who is an Indian? The word Indian has stuck but cannot be used to describe the idea of the Indian, a single word to stand for all Indians. For there are as many variations in being Indian as there are numbers of tribes, groups, and individuals. Each clings to one degree or another to complex value systems that reflect the vagaries of historical circumstances, environment, localized ways, politics, and the dissiluting effects of miscegenation and acculturation. Yet most Indian individuals and group members continue to see with common eyes, proudly identifying themselves with their unique tribal origins and traditions, regardless of variations in the degree of Indian blood or in the effects of acculturation. There are the tribes of the Plains peoples, described as transient teepee dwellers of the grasslands, whose traditional culture is distinctively conditioned in recent centuries by the pursuit of the buffalo. Stereotypically, they are the hard-hitting, vision-seeking horsemen and warriors of the plains. Among them lifestyles today range from practitioners of a buffalo-centered religion, farmers and cattlemen, to professionals holding doctoral degrees, professors, teachers, and Christian ministers. Very few, if any, continue to live in teepees or survive by chasing the buffalo today. Yet, all live in an aura of high regard for old-style beauty in the form of regenerative traditions that connect them emotionally with the buffalo and memories of long ago. By contrast, there are Pueblo people and other tribes who have lived sedentary lives for hundreds of years in the arid Southwest in farming and hunting situations where Sun Father, Mother Earth, and cloud people and deer and eagle dominate a belief system filled with prayerful dances, songs, and poetry. Many are well known for their magnificent gallery quality pottery made by ancient methods. Residents live in adobe houses in traditionally styled villages. At the same time, a goodly number drive RVs, fly in planes, and like members of the Plains people, graduate from higher educational institutions and range the modern professional world with ease. That traditional concepts of beauty vary radically from one culture to another is obvious. All groups and individuals pride themselves in a commonness of origin, and of late, even among the most progressive, an increasing number are turning to ancient traditions in search of the beauty of spirituality, which, in some cases, has all but succumbed to a long history of cultural suppression. Unfortunately, even as of today, beauty, as a vital part of the human spirit, is currently still on the chopping block, jeopardized by the lingering effects of some 2 centuries of misguided governmental educational policies that have left all Native American peoples in varying states of cultural, spiritual, and economic dishevelment. A vast number of Indians today find themselves in a futile struggle to effect a renaissance of lives of beauty in settings marked by ongoing poor economic conditions, high levels of poverty, unemployment, alcoholism, a rising crime rate, and perhaps, worst of all, a continuing sense of estrangement in their own land. It is significant in this regard that more than 60% of all Native Americans now live in urban settings for purposes of economic survival, far removed from the venues that were once the deepest sources of beauty and spiritual health. Fortunately, the tide is turning. In the broader social arena from the mid-1930s forward, government policies have turned away from its program of cultural genocide. Notable improvements have been made in the availability of a kind of culture-driven education that is enabling more Native Americans than ever before to serve as community leaders, as well as contributing to increasing the number of those in the professional, industrial, and social service areas of the general society. Today sees a notable increase in the number of tribes whose members are taking the bull by the horns in the interest of sound cultural development, taking over the management of their own tribal affairs. Young, well-equipped leaders are sensing the importance for the restoration of the human spirit and are looking to the best of the old for the restoration of the kind of beauty that is so essential to the human spirit needs of the new future, new generations as they head into the future. A virtual cultural renaissance is actually underway. Within the broader Indian community, many religious events once threatened by extinction now continue virtually unchanged. Ceremonies and sacred dances which have not been performed for generations are being revived and performed, reopening channels for the flow of deep-felt feelings of pride in the distinctiveness of being Indian and the restoration of self-esteem. Simultaneously, ubiquitous social gatherings in the form of competitive powwows employing tradition-evolved dance forms, music, and elaborate costuming are currently staged in non-traditional venues, in gymnasiums, ballrooms, and athletic fields, from one end of Indian America to the other. Such gatherings provide an effective Renaissance space for the reinforcement of Indian identity and brotherhood, providing the means for tapping a new source of beauty on a pan-tribal cultural basis. Recent years have seen a proliferation of culture-bridging professional performances in which intertribal dance teams, bands, and comedic acts are staged for intercultural audience on an international basis. Indian musicians, composers, and popular rock groups explode in recording studios and on stages and TV screens around the world. A new breed of film and TV makers, writers, and directors offer expanded channels for new expressions. Dynamic evolutions in all of the crafts, ceramics, jewelry design and craftsmanship, textiles, and the fine arts, painting and sculpture, into contemporary forms have brought about the augmentation or extension of age-old tribal styles, techniques, technologies, and materials. In commercial terms, the Department of Commerce figures recently placed the annual sales of arts-related products at well over $8 million. And of that, approximately $1 billion is on Indian arts. Symbolic designs, once used to imbue weapons, ceremonial objects, utensils, and shelters with magic and sacred meanings, are now transformed into secular themes for contemporary architecture, paintings, and sculpture, and into novel applications in the form of haute couture fashions and home furnishings. As our old ways threaten to disappear in the midst of time, we depend heavily upon an upcoming generation of rising visionary artists, authors, and poets to help remind us of both the tragedies and glories of the past, as well as to help us maintain perspectives and the human spirit for negotiating the road ahead. Without the arts, there would be little evidence of our past, and our present and our future would be very bleak indeed. The arts not only reflect the state of any culture, they also define the ever-changing realities of our present and our future. A new hope for the restoration of beauty as a major factor in the human experience for all Indians has appeared in the form of a formal institution called the Institute of American Indian Arts. Let me tell you a little bit about the Institute. The Institute of American Indian and Alaska Native Culture and Arts Development, popularly known as the Institute of American Indian Arts, or IAIA, was founded by the Bureau of Indian Affairs in 1962 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, as a high school. It was the government's first departure from a policy that they set forth to destroy the Native culture by prohibiting teaching any of the Native history and culture in the educational system. Since that time, the IAIA is now a 2-year fine arts college, offering associate degrees in the fine arts. It also includes a first-class contemporary Indian art museum. In the intervening years, IAIA has served more than 3,800 students from most all of the 558 federally recognized tribes in the United States. The Institute is the only national center for Native American students for research, training, and scholarship dedicated exclusively to the study, conservation, extension, and the creative application of American and Alaska Native arts and culture. It has produced many nationally recognized artist graduates who have contributed greatly to the national art scene while enriching both Indian and mainstream cultures. It has created a living legacy of artistic expression built upon traditional cultures while reflecting contemporary life. IAIA has become the flagship for creative expression. A flood of art now pours out from artists in all media, from Indian artists all over America. But perhaps its real legacy, as expressed by many of its graduates, lies in the sense of personal strength they have found through the arts in the reinforcement of pride in their identities as Indian peoples. And not least of all is the inspiration that one finds in the exuberance of life through spiritual awakening to a sense of beauty that results in a can-do spirit, an adventure not always found in their other cognitively based educational or life experiences. I am very proud to have been appointed recently to the position of the president of the IAIA by its board of trustees, whose membership is appointed by no less than the President of the United States. We are engaged in the seminal stages of settling in on our new 140-acre campus with its beautiful views of clouds, mountains, and natural landscape elements, so essential to our beauty-oriented goals. We are moving toward our plans to expand to a 4-year degree granting arts and cultural college. The challenge is great. In the name of Robert Frost, we have many stops yet to make, mainly in the realm of finances, as you might guess. We firmly believe that the salvation of Native Americans lies in a system that believes in the restoration of the beauty way as the missing key to the revival of the kind of human spirit that is needed to lead them out of their state of historic oppression and to see them on their way as fulfilled peoples as they make their way into the future. I would like to leave you with the thought that culture is defined by its art, and art is defined by its culture. And the beauty of the human spirit is defined by both. In conclusion, I want to thank Lloyd Kiva-New, one of the original founders and now President Emeritus of IAIA, for his contributions to the material presented to you today. And I wish to thank you all for this opportunity to speak to the importance of beauty as a major factor in the human spirit, so necessary as Native Americans move into the new millennium and beyond. And at this time, I would like to present some slides of some artwork by our current students as well as recent graduates. This piece of art is by Celeste Whirl. She's a member of the Tlingit tribe. It's entitled Being Born, and it's a 30 by 40 oil on canvas. The concept came from studying Tlingit spirit amulets. In studying these forms, I saw them as codes left by my ancestors. In exploring the ancient forms and architectures, I felt and understood the ancestral insights to a way of being. This process invoked the spirits of my ancestors into the present moment, being born again. Those are Celeste's artist statement about her work. This next piece is by an Oneida young lady, Sheila Nichols. It's entitled Talking to Emmy and Kayla, and it is a ceramic. Sheila created a ceramic tile piece using native images, which suggests the beginning of a story. This particular piece is composed of a variety of individual tiles assembled to create a total image. Sheila is currently attending the Art Institute of Chicago under a scholarship. This piece is by a member of the two tribes, the Dene and San Carlos Apache. His name is Gary Niffen. It's entitled Navajo Warrior, and it's an acrylic on canvas. Gary's unique painting style incorporates certain contemporary approaches to his image making. His style reflects the pop culture style related to a cartoon aesthetic. As a young painter, Gary is continuing to explore a variety of hybrid painting styles that range from the contemporary culture to the traditional imagery. This is a beaded pendant, and it's by Emilio Marx, and he is a member of, this is a tribe I'm not really familiar with, Nanara Dene. Milo's concept in this beaded pendant lies somewhere between traditional and contemporary art forms of his Athabascan culture. Milo states, "My work is a variety of media incorporating a lot of nature-based images, particularly animal images, such as the eagle, wolf, raven, and caribou. I also try to use a lot of materials that are native to my area, such as local feathers, woods, and hides." This next piece is by Sarah Irwin, a member of the 3 affiliated tribes. It's untitled, and it's a charcoal drawing, 18 by 24. This drawing by Sarah Irwin was created in her Drawing 2 class. The drawing assignment was based on incorporating process, tone, and line into a drawing. Sarah used Xerox copies of tribal images and a collage technique to create a source for her drawing. During the process, Sarah became aware of how the collage process began to communicate a theme for her drawing. The final drawing illustrates the contrast between different styles of tribal clothing. This piece is by Gary Stevens, a Tlingit Haida. It's a traditional clan mask using traditional techniques. Gary Stevens was a creative writing major, and during his tenure at IAIA, he began to explore a variety of art forms. This mask incorporates wood and fur materials from his tribal region to create a traditional mask depicting a wolf motif from the Northwest tribe. This is an acrylic on canvas by Winston Howard, a member of the Dene tribe, formerly known as the Navajo tribe. It's entitled Navajo Warrior. This alum's work depicts a Navajo warrior looking towards the sky at a series of jets flying by. You see the juxtaposition of this traditional warrior and the modern technology of the present. This is a necklace and bracelet set of silver and inlaid coins made by Stephen Christian, a member of the Oneida, one of the Oneida tribes. Chris constructed this necklace and bracelet set by creating a series of silver beads. Looking at the different individual beads, you see a variety of animal motifs. I don't know if you all can really see those from there. I can see it a little bit, but not too clearly. Some easily recognizable, such as the turtle, deer, and bird images. This is an acrylic on paper. It's 8 by 11. It's by Washington Buffalo Gouge Jr. He's a Cherokee Creek, and it's entitled Omen 2. Buffalo is a two-dimensional arts major who generally depicts images of Native American warriors. He uses the bold contrasts and intense colors associated with the Santa Fe area. In his work, you see the influences of John Nieto and T.C. Cannon. This acrylic is entitled Footprints in the Sun. It's by Sherwin Bitsui, a Dene. Sherwin is a creative writing major who explored a variety of creative processes, including painting. His lyrical abstract style shows influences from some of the earlier abstract Pueblo painters. His work suggests a sense of atmosphere, which engages the viewer, and one realizes that these abstractions are rooted in his native culture. Sherwin states, My visual expression is nurtured by the languages I have inherited, Dene and English. The abstractions are a necessary step in helping to codify or bring visual representation to what I perceive within my current process of attaining the elusive message that art reveals to us. This next piece is by Belinda Ward, a Tlingit. It's a hexagonal hand drum using traditional techniques. Using the Northwest Coast style, Belinda depicts the wolf image of her clan on this very well-crafted hand drum made from a hide that a friend gave her. The colors are contemporary while the design is traditional. The drum is intended for ceremonial purposes. This last piece is by Marvin Pino. He's a Dene. It's untitled, and it's acrylic on paper, 20 by 24. Marvin Pino, a two-dimensional art major, created this painting in his first-year design class. The use of yellow, orange, and red suggest the warm, life-giving rays of the sun. Marvin incorporated the image of corn, which is a symbol of life in the Dene culture. That's all of the slides that I have. In closing, I'd like to read a statement from a Hopi elder. We are all one of one human life, human world. We're also involved in the animal world and the cosmos. And the simple teaching is that we are the ones who would have to realize this and live in harmony with the earth and all the things that move on the earth. It's a simple belief. May you walk in beauty, and may the Great Spirit bless you all. Thank you. Question? While Tony's going to get ready for questions here, I would like to thank Tony and his committee for inviting me, and especially for the warm hospitality that they've shared with me. And I just feel very welcome. I feel very at home, and I really enjoy visiting your great state. It's very beautiful.
Thank you, Ms. Warrior. On behalf of our committee and the college and our community, I want to say that Della Warrior, you have brought great richness to us. You've made our lives more rich and culturally appreciative. You're a wonderful human being, and you gave a tremendous speech. Let's thank her once again, please. I would also like to say individuals like Ms. Warrior make us understand what the journey is all about in search of the human spirit, and she has a beautiful spirit, and we're most appreciative. We have a little time left for the program, and we very much would entertain questions. And I'll bring the mic to you because we're recording this for a video for the library. Any questions, please? Just raise your hand and I will come to you. Now, you got to have the microphone because of the videotape we're doing.
Yes. I know that it was mentioned that several artists did 2-degree works, which I assume is planar painting. But have any tried to use that same dimension, adding a third dimension, such as a flower reaching out from the face of a canvas?
Yes, one of our degree programs the majors is in three-dimensional arts. Many of the students are doing installations and a variety of things. I believe I heard someone ask what tribe I was. I'm a member of the Otoe, Missouri tribe, which is now located in northern Oklahoma, and I've served on the tribal council and was the first female chairperson of my tribe.
Miss Warrior, does the Institute have courses in mythology and in Indian history and Indian symbolism that you share with the art students?
Some not as separate courses. Those are incorporated into, some of the art history courses, as well as some of the, the art theory courses. Those are woven into those. They're not separate courses. We are one of our degree programs that we're moving towards is in Native American Studies. So then we will teach art, history, Native history.
Hi, Della. I'm Jeannie's sister.
Oh, hi.
About 20 years ago, I had an opportunity to attend a teacher's workshop at the Institute, and it was a training for teachers to learn about Indian art, and it was a great opportunity for us to learn so we could go back into our classrooms and implement our teachings. Is there any chance that the Institute will be offering any trainings for teachers in the near future?
Now that we have our own campus, I might just quickly I'll respond and giving a little bit of background. We, when we first were set up, we were under the Bureau of Indian Affairs on a boarding school campus. And then because that was also a high school program, we relocated to another campus, the College of Santa Fe. And in that campus, we were housed in hospital barracks from World War II and portable buildings for 18 years. So the Institute is very thrilled now to have their own campus. It's very small. We have an academic center which houses our current art programs, and we have a housing administration and residential housing for up to 104 students. We also have students that live off campus. But to answer your question, we plan to run these teacher institutes, not this summer, but the following summer, because we realize the role that plays in ensuring that the culture survives, through education. So we will be offering those in the future. And I have a table outside with some of our materials. You're certainly welcome to take those. I brought some guides from the current exhibit at the museum called IAIA Rocks the 60s, and I think there are some guides from past exhibits. But it gives you a glimpse into what the museum is, their work in telling the Native story from a Native perspective. So you're welcome to take those materials. And also there's some pictures of our current campus that you can see what it looks like. And I invite you to come and visit us if you're ever in New Mexico.
My question is the Institute's enrollment limited to Native peoples?
No. We have, it's a very small number. It varies, I would say, from 3 to 8% over the years of non-Native peoples. At this year, we have a student from Bogota, Colombia, and from Japan. And we've had students from other countries as well, Sweden and Germany, as well as, non-natives in the United States. And we are going to be doing more for the community with short-term types of training. But we just previously have not had our own facilities and had inadequate space. So now with this campus has brought new life and new hope and some very ambitious plans.
Yes, I was brought up on the edge of the Colville Indian Reservation around Cooley Dam, Washington, and all my life I would seen a lot of different powwow-type dances and things, and whether or not it was on TV in later life or wherever, I've seen various types of this, and they all seem to be very similar. And I just wondered, I don't believe at that stage people traveled around enough to see how everybody else is doing it, and so there must be some kind of a tradition in this type of dance. I just wondered if you could talk about that.
Well, the powwow really comes from the Plains culture and their annual dances. For my tribe, for example, we have an annual encampment where the tribal members that live off, in other states or other cities, they come home during that time because that's a time to renew our relationships, keep our connections with the tribe, and to continue the ceremonies. So from this, beginning with the respective tribes having their own dances, they've turned, and someone apparently called it a powwow. That's not, one of our terms, but they came and saw it, and then I think as people moved away to the city, they began to have their own dances and coming together, and it's just really grown, so that now you have a lot of the tribes that they're participating in these dances, even though they're not traditional, their traditional form of dance. The Pueblo, for example, they have the buffalo and the deer dances, where these dances are based around a season, and the prayers, like for the planting season, they have a whole series of ceremonies that they do getting ready for the planting season. And then or the hunting season, and where they have the deer dances, and they get ready and they pray and they ask the Great Spirit to help them as they go and do their hunting. And it's they dress like those animals, like a buffalo or a deer. And so the powwow is not their form of dancing, but through sharing and exchanging and interaction, there's a lot of, it's like a multi-tribal, it's pan-Indianism, I believe is the more technical term. But I know that the dances in the Northwest Coast are very different as they are, in Alaska. They have those native dances, but still many of the individual members do participate in these powwows.
As we close the program, some of you may want to stay, and Ms. Warrior will have a few minutes with you to speak with you personally before a lunch in her honor. I do want to say that we want to thank Jeannie Givens again, our own Jeannie Givens in Coeur d'Alene, who served 6 years on the Board of Trustees at North Idaho College and chaired the board. She is now a board member of the Institute in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she has been very instrumental not only in bringing Ms. Warrior, but working with her in dealing with this Day of Beauty. And we love Jeannie, and she is just temporarily ill. She's getting better, and she sends her love and greetings to you. And again, we will be meeting again at 1 o'clock in the Student Union for our panel. And Ms. Warrior and her institute has also been very generous, and go to the top floor of the Student Union and see the beautiful artwork that she has on display today. And once again, Miss Warrior, I consider myself a new friend of yours. You're a wonderful person, and thank you for being so gracious and generous with your time today. And we'll see you at 1. Thank you.
Thank you.